evening, everyone. Welcome. Nice crowd in the gallery as well. Welcome this evening. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you'll please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to go ahead and turn the meeting over now to Mrs. Karen Hall. Mrs. Hall, yours.
Roll call. Holdover members of the board. Judy Brady.
Here.
Megan Eshelman.
Here.
Grant Keener.
Here.
Patrick Wagner.
Present.
Justin Wogelmuth.
Here.
Welcome to the members of the public and to our special guests. The purpose of this annual organization meeting is to officially announce the election of the newly elected or re-elected members of the board, to swear in those members who have not already been sworn in, and to organize the board for the coming year by electing a permanent president and vice president. As you can see from the agenda for the organization portion of the meeting, we will not take up the regular legislative business of the board at this point. Immediately following the organization meeting this evening, we will be convening a regular meeting for that purpose. Do any residents request to speak this evening to address the reorganization proceedings that will occur in the next few minutes? If not, all resident requests to speak will be heard during the regular meeting that will immediately follow the reorganization meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Hall. First order of business is to elect a temporary president from the holdover members only to chair the organization meeting. I will now open the floor to nominations for a temporary president. With that said, may I please have a nomination for temporary president?
Mr. Wagner, it's my pleasure to nominate Megan Eshelman as temporary president.
Very good. Are there any other nominations for temporary president? Very good. Those in favor, please say yay and raise a hand to be acknowledged. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Motion carries 5-0. With a vote of 5-0, the temporary president is now Mrs. Megan Eshelman.
Thank you. Our incoming members this evening, those who were newly elected to seats on the board last month, are Caleb Best, Kate Linton, Aaron Small, and Mackay Williams. The board secretary will now read the certificates of election.
At this time, I will read the County Board of Elections of Lancaster County certificates of election as presented to each newly elected board member. We, the undersigned members of the Lancaster County Board of Elections, hereby certify that after tabulating the votes cast in the municipal election held on the 4th day of November 2025, it appears that Caleb Best, Kate Linton, Aaron Small, and Mackay Williams were duly elected to the office of school director for the Hempfield School District for a 4-year term.
Our guest of honor is District Justice Brian Chudzik, who will now administer the oath of office to the newly elected members. You all go up together. Congratulations. You have signed your oath of office as a school director certificate, and we will make sure they get to our assistant board secretary, Carissa, before we adjourn. You all have a draft copy of the list of members of the Board of School Directors for the year now beginning at your seats. Please review your information and confirm the accuracy with our Assistant School Board Secretary, Carissa Rhodes, this evening before you leave. Tonight's nominations and voting for Board President and Vice President will follow Hempfield School District's Board Policy 005, Organization. Election of officers shall be by a majority vote of those present and voting. Where no such majority is achieved on the first ballot, a second ballot shall be cast for the two candidates who received the greatest number of votes. I will now open the floor to nominations for the office of President. May I have a nomination for Board President?
I would like to nominate Judy Brady.
Are there any other nominations for the office of President? I'm going to ask the Board Secretary, I declare the nominations closed, and at this time, the Board Secretary will call the roll alphabetically, and each member will cast their vote when their name is called by stating yea or nay.
Madam President, before we cast our vote, I have a few things to say.
Okay, let me finish this right here, and then we can do that. The Secretary will record the votes. Does everyone understand the procedure? All good with them? All right, go ahead.
This will take a few minutes just to read, but Chair, fellow board members, and members of the community, as we reorganize this board for the coming year, I believe it's necessary to speak plainly about the qualities of a board chair and what they must possess. These qualities aren't optional. They are essential to earning and maintaining public trust. The board chair must be diplomatic, able to handle sensitive issues with professionalism and respect, regardless of personal feelings. A board chair must have strong governance knowledge, fully understand fiduciary responsibility, and the responsibility of leading a governing body that exists to serve students, the community, not public alliances. Most critically, a board chair must demonstrate integrity and ethics at all times. A board chair must be honest, transparent, dependable. They must uphold high ethical standards, modeling integrity and accountability, and setting the tone for this board. A chair must be independent-minded, making decisions free from conflicts of interest or public obligations or political obligations. And a chair must be confidential, safeguarding sensitive board discussions and to preserve trust. Qualities such as transparency and ability to set aside personal biases, humility, and a real experience, especially experience as a chair, are fundamental. These qualities ensure that decisions that are made for the benefit of the school district rather than personal preferences, political convenience, or prearranged deals. I want to address an experience that will influence my vote today, and the reason for this is my vote is not going to look like what some people might expect. Approximately 3 weeks ago, Mrs. Brady contacted me to ask me for my support for her candidacy as board chair. She told me she believed she already had the support of the other 7 members. It was clear from our conversation that the extensive discussion with both current and incoming members had taken place prior to speaking with me. I told Mrs. Brady that whether or not I support her would depend on the answer to a single important question, one that would help me understand how she intended to lead. I needed to know whether she would prioritize the best interests of the district above personal or political preferences. So my question was direct. Would I be retained as Finance Committee Chair if she were elected chair? Mrs. Brady informed me that she had already promised that position to Mr. Wagner. She also stated that she already had the votes she needed for chair and that Mrs. Eshelman would be receiving at least 5 votes for vice chair. It was clear that these commitments were already made before any discussion occurred with me, commitments made privately and strategically rather than transparently or collaboratively. While this conduct does not violate the Sunshine Law, I believe that the way these discussions occurred behind closed doors, selectively and without transparency, reflects an approach to leadership that does not meet the ethical standards expected of a board chair. I told Mrs. Brady directly that because of these concerns, she would not receive my support. My comments today reflect my personal experiences, my own judgment about what ethical leadership requires. I'm sharing them because the community deserves clarity about how decisions are made and how leadership roles are secured. I am deeply disappointed that despite these concerns and my vote, Mrs. Brady will probably serve as the chair. Nevertheless, I remain committed to holding this board to the highest standards of ethics, transparency, and governance, and to advocate and continue to advocate for the truly best of our students, staff, and community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Karen Hall, can you please call the roll?
Caleb Best,
Yay.
Judy Brady,
Yes.
Megan Eshelman,
Yes.
Grant Keener,
Yes.
Kate Linton,
Yes.
Aaron Small,
Yes.
Pat Wagner,
Yes.
Makai Williams,
Yes.
Justin Wogelmuth.
No.
With a vote of 8-1, Judy Brady has been elected president. Congratulations, Judy.
I will now turn the meeting over to our new board president. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I shall get organized. I will now like to open the floor to nominations for the office of Vice President. May I have a nomination for Board Vice President?
I nominate Mr. Patrick Wagner.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for Vice President?
Point of order, second.
I'll second that.
These do not require a second according to PSBA. Are there any other nominations for Vice President?
I would like to nominate Megan Eshelman.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? All right, hearing none, I declare the nominations closed. At this time, the board secretary will call the roll alphabetically, and each member will cast their vote when their name is called by stating the name of the candidate of their choice. The secretary will record the votes. Does everyone understand the procedures? Simply saying the name of the candidate of your choice. Karen Hall, please call the roll.
Caleb Best,
Megan Eshelman.
Judy Brady,
Megan Eshelman?
Megan Eshelman,
Megan Eshelman?
Grant Keener,
Patrick Wagner.
Kate Linton,
Megan Eshelman.
Aaron Small,
Megan Eshelman.
Pat Wagner,
Pat Wagner.
Makai Williams,
Megan Eshelman.
Justin Wogelmuth.
Pat Wagner.
So with a vote of 6-3, Megan Eshelman has been elected vice president. Congratulations, Megan.
All right, we're moving forward to item number 5A on our agenda tonight. May I have a motion to approve the authorization of the use of the president's signature stamp until a new one is received?
Motion?
Thank you, Mrs. Edelman. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Yes, and raise your hand.
Yay.
6, 7. Opposed? I didn't see any. Okay, motion carries. Number 6 on the agenda, may I have a motion to approve the Hempfield School District resolutions to designate the following as presented in 6B and 6C. First of all, the banks and trust companies as depositories for our school district funds, being First National Bank, Fulton Bank, Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Funds, and Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, and the following newspaper of general circulation as defined by law, being the LNP Media Group. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Keener. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes with your raised hand.
Yes.
8, 9 opposed. Okay, motion carries 9-0. All right, we're moving to numbers D, approval of the 2026 Hempfield School Board meetings schedule. These would take effect at the beginning of January, not for our remaining December meetings. I'm going to read this. It may sound like a mouthful, but hopefully by referencing the draft schedule, you'll see that what we're proposing are 2 regular voting meetings each month, the second and fourth Tuesdays of most months, beginning at 6 o'clock, followed immediately by our committee work meetings. And I'll flesh that out a little bit better here. Regular meetings will be held at 6 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, with the exceptions of May and December. May being due to a conflict with graduation that night, December being that we would be following school code requirements to have that meeting the first Tuesday of the month. Then our standing committees, Education Programs and Policy Committee meeting would be held the second Tuesday of the month, immediately following the adjournment of the regular meeting, except for December. And the Buildings and Grounds and Finance Committee meetings would be held on the fourth Tuesday of the month, immediately following the adjournment of the regular meeting, with the exception of May. Okay, all those meetings would still be held here in the public boardroom at the District Administration Building. And yeah, I think that's the overall idea behind it, with the goal of making things a little easier for everyone to understand, to know and anticipate when the meetings will be held, and to have better involvement really from everybody, the public, from our staff, a time that is easier for everybody to access rather than some of those meetings at 5 o'clock. May I have a motion to approve the draft of the 2026 Hempfield School Board meeting scheduled as presented? Who was that? Thank you, Kate. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Caleb. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a question. Sometimes we have executive session that runs for 2 hours. I was not part of this discussion, so maybe I'll start with the question of who's involved in this decision to make the change. I'm not fundamentally opposed to it, but I would like to know who is involved in the discussion for it and how it came to be. Secondly, where do you expect to take the time for executive session when at times it's taken up to 2 hours to sit in executive session from 5 to 7?
Understood. I'll answer your question on the executive session portion first. By going to the 2 meetings a month versus now where we're gathering for 3 and setting aside 3 nights a week, if we have or 3 nights a month, if we have the need for an extended executive session, we could then have a 3rd night to do that, to have the executive session for further education, for professional development as far as things we may need to have further information, or whether it's legal advice or anything along those lines that we may need to address. We can also always adjourn following the other meetings if we need more time to address.
I still fundamentally have some questions around that, because an attorney typically isn't going to come here probably at 9 o'clock after we complete another meeting. So we're having 2 meetings a month. We would add a meeting if we needed an executive session, and currently we typically have about 4 executive sessions per month on average. It's often that we have one before a meeting. It's rare that we don't. So I'm still scratching my head a little bit saying, are we going to end up with 4 meetings and 2 additional executive sessions because we don't have time, or we have to add 2?
Mr. Brzezinski, would you like to address that at all?
Yeah, we could start at 5 o'clock. Sometimes, if need be, we can start earlier. As Mrs. Brady shared, we could also schedule a different time that works with everybody to be able to meet, or we meet afterwards. If it's an attorney that needs to be present, we may have to find a different time, or they come at 5 o'clock and we get started, or If the regular voting meeting goes quicker, we can adjourn to an executive session to continue the discussion. So those are all options that can be
And I
provided.
assume it would also be possible to just push back the start of the regular meeting in that situation.
There is always that piece too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if needed. Are there any other questions or points for discussion?
Yeah,
Point
I
that,
just had a final question. Who was involved in the discussion around creating this? You know, because the full board was not part of this, from what I understand.
Exactly, and it is listed as a draft for the full board's discussion and conversation tonight. It was with Mr. Murmurski and myself actually about a week ago, earlier in the fall. He had asked, actually, I think Mr. Keener was present. He had asked us in another time we were talking, like, if anybody's interested in board leadership, please express that. He'd like to talk to them about it, and this was one of the things I talked to him about, that I was interested in approaching some kind of changes to the meeting schedule if I would be in board leadership.
Again, I'm all about less meetings. I'm just not sure that that totally accomplishes that when I think about executive session and how often we have to have those.
It may be that we are engaging in more meetings as a board, but to streamline it for those public meetings that the public needs to be and would want to be part of, this consolidates and makes that timing easier for them, in my opinion, but that's something we can all discuss here.
I do have one final question. I think I know the answer to, but for the benefit of everyone else, if we're going to hold the regular board meetings twice a month, and we're going to hold our committee meetings after that, I'm assuming we'll be discussing things in the committee meetings that will be up for the next board agenda, not necessarily things that we're going to be addressing at that board agenda?
That's correct, because the regular meeting would come first and the committee meetings would be second, and then things that are moved from committee to full board would happen at the 2 weeks later
As
meeting.
long as people understand that, because typically, I'm used to seeing a committee meeting with the discussion before the actual board meeting. That way, the things that come up in that committee meeting, then if they need to be voted on or addressed, can be addressed in that board meeting. It
Correct.
seems a little backwards to me, but I think it can work.
That's how it will work in terms of when you look at the structure of the ed programs policy, that's the first Tuesday. Any voting items would be on the fourth Tuesday. And then building and grounds and finance at the fourth Tuesday. Any voting items would be then 2 weeks later.
Mr. Keener?
Thank you, Mrs. Brady. Like Mr. Walkenberg, I'm not opposed to this. I'm willing to try something. In my time on the board, we've experimented with a number of different meeting schedules. I just want to be clear that we are voting only on the meeting schedule, not the suggestions following the meeting schedule about how the meetings will be conducted, and that each board member will retain the right to participate in meetings as he or she deems fit.
Thank you for that clarity, Mr. Keener. I also want to understand what we're voting on here.
I think one of the goals that Mr. Bromierski had expressed was a desire to regain a more pure committee structure here. And if you want to explain your rationale for that?
So many districts that operate on committee of the whole, then from a board meeting standpoint, typically it's 2 meetings a month. We've moved several years ago to the committee structure, but it wasn't the full committee structure. But to Mr. Keener's point, there are members of the committee who will engage in discussion, as will members of the board who are present. So the chair of the committee will need to facilitate that meeting in referencing those who are on the committee and those other board members who are present, and everybody at the table has the opportunity to engage in discussion and ask questions.
Does
And
that
as
answer your
long as
question?
that's where we are, I'm fine with this, okay? I mean, we're essentially just changing the schedule, but to the extent that there's going to be priority given to some board members but not other board members, and an attempt to tell board members when they may or may not speak, that is something that I will not support.
Yeah, and I agree with Mr. Keener. This is a board of 9. There's an equal board of 9, and it needs to remain that way in the way we conduct business.
I will submit a counter to that. We're not saying that the whole board can't contribute. We're saying that during committee meetings, committee members get a priority. At least that's my interpretation of what was being proposed. In addition, overall, my view is previous boards have not been run very smoothly, and this is a way to provide or I believe that this will provide a way to more streamline our meetings.
With all due respect, I disagree, because what's going to happen is if you stifle speech of some members that are not part of the committee, your discussions are going to be then held in the primary board voting meeting, which is
Exactly.
where they should not be held. A lot of that discussion should
disagree.
take place in the committees ahead of time, but you're going to have a lot more discussion and a lot more lively discussion in a public board meeting that's typically meant to run smoothly and be voting items only. So I'm just suggesting if people aren't able to speak in a committee meeting, it's going to come out in the full board meeting. They're just going to take a lot longer.
Thank you for that comment. I just want to clarify that the intent here is in moving to a more focused committee structure, that the chair of that committee would first recognize the committee members to answer the questions that they may have for whatever presentations are happening. Be sure that those are done first, and then turn to the rest of the board that may be present at that meeting to find out if there are additional questions that they would like to have addressed. So I don't feel like in this structure anybody's voices are being silenced, only that the first go at questions would be through the committee members of that committee, but the whole board would have the opportunity at the committee meeting to also have their comments and questions addressed. Does that answer your questions?
Mrs. Brady, I understand that that is what you are saying. I am saying that that still elevates the voices of some board members over others, and is not the way that this board functions. And frankly, as we are all independent elected officials and have the right to speak whenever we choose. So, I mean, I would hope that this doesn't come down to some rigid attempt by the committee chairs to regulate speech of their fellow board members. And because if it is, that will not be permitted to occur.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Mr. Best?
As I mentioned before, I feel like the disorganization of previous boards has contributed to meetings running longer. You say that, you know, the committee, anyone should have a right to speak during committee meetings, but if you go look at any other government board, during committee meetings, only those members of the committee are really meant to be part of the discussion, right? I'm not saying that, you know, if I'm not on a committee, I can't voice my opinion, but I'm not on the committee. That's not my primary focus. I should be focused on the committees that I'm on.
You know, I've been part of committees in the past on school board, and sometimes they even involve community members that are free to speak as well. So I vehemently disagree with that. I think that's attempting to stifle good discussion around issues.
Are there any other questions that we have not already heard?
I think if anything, it may even have the ability to have more voices heard.
Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Eshelman.
I said, I think it may even have the ability to have more voices heard as we work through the committee structure of people involved in the committee, but then also go to all of the rest of the school board members that are in attendance at those committee meetings.
So before we vote, can I have clarity on what we're voting on? If it is just a schedule, I'm willing to try this, even though I do have some concerns that it's not really going to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. It'll be similar, but are we voting on this, or are we voting on all this other stuff that's tied to it as what I call the fine print?
Technically, the motion is to approve the 2026 Hempfield School Board meeting schedule as presented. That's what the motion on the floor is right now.
Thank you, it's helpful.
Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, say yes with their raised hand.
Yes?
Yes. No? Motion carries 9-0 by my count?
Yep.
Yep, all right. I think I need my glasses back on for this. Number 7, next, I'm looking for approval of the appointments for representative and adjunct committees for the public's benefit. I'll just read that list. Lancaster County Career and Technology Center Joint Operating Committee. Mr. Keener has served us there faithfully for many years and will continue in that capacity with Caleb Best as the alternate. The Lancaster Lebanon Intermediate Union 13, we will have Kate Linton representing us there. Hempfield Recreation Center, Patrick Wagner will be continuing there, and Mackay Williams will be taking the spot that I previously held there. Safety and Security Committee will be Megan Eshelman, and our PSBA liaison will be Aaron Small as our representative. May I have a motion to approve the representatives for the adjunct committee appointments as presented?
Motion?
So
Thank
moved.
you, Megan.
So moved.
Oh, you got the move? That was the second, Mr. Wagner, then?
I'm sorry to hear the first. I'll
Yeah,
second. I'll
okay.
second.
Mrs. Eshelman, Mr. Wagner. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say yes.
Yes.
No? Motion carries 9-0. 7B is simply for information purposes, an announcement of the board and committee appointments as presented on your agendas tonight. And that concludes our reorganization meeting. The regular meeting will follow immediately after the adjournment of this reorganization meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn our reorganization meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron.
Second?
Thank you, Megan. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? No? All right, motion carries 9-0. Let me just turn the page and go directly to the next meeting. That was fun. Oh, you all don't want to stay for the fun part? I'll let them. First time. I'll call this meeting to order, and all are still present, so we will not go through a formal roll call, and we've already conducted the pledge at our previous meeting. I'd like to note that the board will meet in an executive session following this meeting to gain information on 4 legal matters before the board. Item 2A, is there a need to amend our agenda for any additions or deletions? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda for December 2nd, regular board meeting incorporating no additions or deletions?
Motion.
Mr. Best, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. All those in favor? Opposed? That's 9-0, motion carries. Item 2B, we need a motion to approve the minutes as presented from the regular school board meeting held on November 11th, the minutes of the Education and Programs, Policy, Personnel, and Legal, Buildings and Grounds, and Finance Committee meetings all held on November 20th, and all of these were previously shared with you through board docs. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Keener. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kate. Discussion? All those in favor? Yes?
Yes.
No? That carries 9-0. Moving to item 3, student and staff recognitions. I'll turn this over to Mr. Bremerski.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's great to see everyone here. Just wanted to announce staff recognition. This Sunday and Monday, we'll have the privilege to be cheering on Andrea Rutledge, Landisville Middle School teacher, who has been nominated and has moved all the way through the process for Teacher of the Year. And so up in Hershey, we will find out on Monday, who the state's Teacher of the Year will be. But it will be exciting to be able to be there and celebrate with her, her family. There's a student that she has worked with, and that student's family are also attending. So that's just a great honor and recognition. So I wanted to just bring that to everyone's attention here. And in terms of our student council, they are not here this evening. I know they have several things to share, so we'll get them caught up at our next meeting. But a lot of great things, from the food drive to the variety show, and a lot of great work that they're doing between last month and this coming month. So we'll get that information, and hopefully we can get that at a later meeting this month.
And I'd like to thank the student council, even in their absence. You may not be aware, but they raised over 1,500 pounds of food that was donated to the Hempfield Area Food Pantry, and that is hugely appreciated by the pantry and its patrons, and especially in these last months where we've heard so much in the news about the need for food and the high food insecurity in our areas. That food bank serves more than 400 Hempfield families. So we truly appreciate the effort that the Student Council has put into that effort. And you have nothing else?
Nope, I'll turn that back to you,
Okay.
Mrs. Brady.
The residents request to address the board. Mr. Graham, do we have any residents to speak tonight?
Yep.
Just one? All right. The board provides this time of public comment for residents and taxpayers to bring their thoughts to the board, but it is not a time for exchange between the board, administration, and the speaker. We ask that our speakers refrain from identifying specific students, staff, or community members by name. Residents and taxpayers who are interested in making public comments must complete the electronic registration form on the district's website prior to 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Mr. Graham?
Our only speaker this evening is Emily Smucker-Beigler.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Over the course of my career, I taught art in 4 different buildings across 2 states, and when I landed at Landisville Primary Center, I knew I would stay there till I retired. I grew to love the staff and the families that came through those doors. I understand that LPC, in addition to the high school, will be having a new HVAC system installed, and it has the potential to be very disruptive to a learning environment. In the late 90s, I taught through a 1.5 years of construction at York Suburban High School and wanted to give an example of what your teachers might deal with. This was a strong school district. This was a good building project. The construction crews worked a 3:30 to 11:30 shift every day throughout the school year. So when we heard the sound of jackhammers, that was our signal to put a plastic drop cloth over our desk and head home to work rather than in our classrooms. One morning I came in and all my windows were boarded up. Another morning, all my lights were taken out, so we had class in the front lobby that day. For several weeks, our ceramics room had no running water, so we just taught the kids how to fill 5-gallon buckets at a garden hose every day. One morning after the spacklers came through, there were big chunks of spackle left on the bare cement floors. So at 7 a.m., I found myself on my hands and knees with the custodian chipping those big chunks off, most likely so that I wouldn't trip. The kids were probably fine. As a staff, we got used to checking in with other teachers in our hall every morning and helping each other. And even with that, we as a staff estimated that we lost 4 to 5 class periods of instruction per semester for whoever we had first period. Our long-term principal retired right before construction, so we had a brand new principal, but we learned quickly that we could trust him to tell us not only what he knew, but also what he didn't know, since we know that every large construction project dealing with multiple contractors and potential supply issues, we really couldn't know what was going to happen day to day, and we understood that. From that experience and looking ahead to construction, I have 4 recommendations for you as administrators and school board members to consider. First of all, listen to your building custodians. Safety in a construction zone is different than safety in a school, and they will be doing mop-up every day. Number 2, Release building principals from any extra tasks created by the district for the duration of the project. Understand that they will need to walk the building every morning with the custodians to ensure that the learning environment is safe and functional. Number 3, lighten up on dress code. It wasn't my job to be on my hands and knees to chip spackle chunks from the floor, but our teachers will do whatever it takes to make a better learning environment. Leaning hard on dress code during construction will only send a message of tone-deaf disengagement. Number 4, to all sitting around this table, pay attention to teacher morale. I know that this is a hard thing to gauge, but it affects every single thing that happens in an educational setting. Some of you recently spent 6 months behind closed doors discussing how to get 5-year contracts for some of our highest paid administrators. 6 months on a contract that still had 2 years left. It was only last year that our teachers, who are paid much less, worked without a contract for 2.5 months. To all that were involved in that, do you see the dichotomy? It's important. Can you understand what message you sent to the teachers? So stay engaged, keep listening, take those people who are instructing through construction projects seriously, so that we can build morale rather than destroy it, so that our kids can continue to get a strong education here at Hempfield. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we turn it over again to Mr. Bermurski for the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Again, welcome and congratulations to our new board members, and congratulations to Mrs. Brady and Mrs. Eshelman, board leadership. I wanted to start, I know I shared at the last meeting that our STEM Summit was coming up. Our STEM Summit had concluded at the high school in November, and so I want to thank our board members who were there volunteering. It was a great event, but it also took many other volunteers to make that happen between staff, volunteers, and it was a great event for 2 days for our 9th graders. So I want to thank Dr. Becker and her entire team that was part of that to make it a great event for our students. Junior Achievement continues to provide great resources for our students and staff in our buildings, and we provide those programming K-12, and we're continuing to look at ways to potentially increase those opportunities that Junior Achievement has to provide. We also, right before Thanksgiving, held parent-teacher conferences, K-12. This is the first time we went down this path as a district doing it K-12. So feedback will be taken to kind of look at what we do moving forward in future years. But it was a great opportunity for parents at all levels to hear and connect with their child's teachers to find out how they're doing in the classroom and their strengths and what areas they can do to continue growing. Also this week in board news, you will see a list of all of the winter concerts. There are many great concerts coming up over the next several weeks, and so I encourage you, when it fits in your schedule, to go and visit and hear the great music and performances from our students and the great work that our staff did with those students over the first half of the year. And the last piece, as noted today, with moving into winter weather, we did learn as we shifted to a new website platform. We continued to learn through that process, but what we had thought would occur in terms of messaging did not occur. So we did push out more information this evening in our 5 o'clock news. And Mr. Graham, can you just pull up our website really quick, just so I could show everybody what they will see when they get to our website, no matter if you go to the main site, schools. So you see right out of the gate when you open our website, changes our text messaging system. It now pulls only out of PowerSchool, so it's a great opportunity for all parents and guardians to go and check to make sure that the phone numbers are correct, so that they are getting those updates and the directions are there, as well as, Mr. Graham, if you click on that X to get out of that message and scroll down on the website to the news underneath this next section, you'll see there changes to our text messaging system. So it is there for people to look out and update the information as needed. So we'll continue to work and improve that process as it's new for us, and making sure that information gets out. The other piece that I did want to share, we received some questions today just in terms of process decision making. Obviously, predicting weather is not an easy thing, and multiple sources provide information to us as a district. There's a large team that works through checking roads and buildings and parking lots, et cetera, all the way through. And decisions have to be made, but one unique thing about us as a district with the size of our bus fleet is how early our drivers are leaving to go pick up students, because as many of you know, we have to transport students not only who are living in our attendance area, but who live outside of our attendance area, but are still coming to our schools based on their personal situations. So once that call is made, buses are going, and so we have to make those calls very early in advance compared to some other districts. So it's very hard to compare districts when going through this process. It is not easy. But safety is a priority, and yes, we have FID days, and we look at trying to figure out when it would make the most sense based on the conditions. So I want to thank everybody for their patience and understanding, even though it is concerning, especially when there's inclement weather, especially with young drivers and staff getting to and from work. But the important part is that everyone takes it seriously, and we do get a lot of information and are out driving the roads, looking to see. So if there was any concern or any inconvenience this morning, we do apologize for that. One of the things with Mother Nature is you never know what you're going to get and where those particular storms are going to land. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But safety is an important piece. So we continue to move through this winter season, hopefully very quickly and with less inclement weather. And with that, you have the calendar of meeting events, and as I said in board news, you will be getting that information regarding the concerts, and then you have the December 1st enrollment reports that you can access from board docs. Any questions? Mr. Keener.
Mr. Bomerski, I just want to say I know that these weather calls are never easy, and while in hindsight a 2-hour delay probably wasn't necessary this morning, certainly I commend you for your attention to student safety, even though we probably would have been fine at a normal time.
Thanks.
So, thank you.
Great team efforts, as hard as it is.
And my kids aren't hoping for less winter weather. They're good with it, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, it's great on the weekends. So with that, Mrs. Brady, I'll turn it back to you.
So we're at item number 6, the President's Report, and this being my first one, I just want to first say that it is truly an honor to be sitting here, and I thank all of you that have joined us in person or online for tonight's meeting. It's important that you are taking part in local governance, and we are all here to serve this community, and we want to encourage your continued participation in that process. My goal as we begin this new board term is that we do move effectively and efficiently, but thoughtfully through the work of the district to, and you might chuckle, I'm just going to say, get things done is my goal. By engaging in some quality long-term planning while we meet the day-to-day business of Hempfield, and by calling on the expertise of our executive team and those we employ for professional advice, such as legal, financial, and construction services, by listening to our principals, our teachers, our staff, and the concerns of the community and the hopes of the community, and by working together as a team to reach consensus. We will aim to keep our district's mission at the forefront of all of our deliberations and decisions. And as a reminder, that is, quote, to cultivate safe, supportive, and engaging environments that empower all students to excel on their chosen path, pursue lifelong learning, and contribute positively to society. We have a lot to accomplish in the coming year, and we will need all hands on deck to do that. But I do believe that with the talents and combination of interests and talents and experience of this group of 9+ that are seated here, and the guidance of all of our administrators, that we have the capacity to tackle that and all the challenging things that lie ahead. Some things like the high school project, which we've all been hearing about, the athletic field renovations and updates, the committee tasked with exploring full-day kindergarten for the entire district, other buildings that are begging for attention, repair and renovations with limited funding and increased expenses, and importantly, encouraging and supporting our exceptional staff in order to provide excellence to every student and every family here in Hempfield. That's why we're all here. To that end, I'm looking forward to our January meeting, at which time it will be appropriate for our new board members to have the chance to join the rest of us in reaffirming our board's commitment found in Policy 101, which mirrors PSBA's principles for governance and leadership. So thank you all. I think that's it for my president's report. And we'll move on to item 7, representative and adjunct committee reports. Mr. Keener, would you like to start with Lancaster County Career and Technology?
Thank you, Mrs. Brady. The Joint Operating Committee does not meet in November. The reorganization meeting will be held this coming Monday at Willow Street.
Thank you. Kate, anything to say about IU13?
Sure. So this Thursday, December 4th, the IU will be holding a student holiday bazaar from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the IU13 Conference and Training Center. I'm here, it's similar to our student holiday shop. So if anybody is available at that time, you want to check it out, it's over at the IU Conference and Training Center. The next meeting for the IU board will be on December 10th.
Okay, thank you. Hempfield Rec Center. Mr. Wood, anything?
We did meet on November the 19th, which was our second to last meeting of the year, where we discussed, it was a relatively quick meeting, but discussed strategic planning updates, which are ongoing, as well as a 2026 budget update. And we have a meeting coming up in December on the 17th, Wednesday the 17th.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else you want to add? Since you
No, nothing.
Very good.
It's all good. And in the future, I'll be tapping Mackay for some of that. Safety and security. Ms. Fleischman?
I just wanted to say that I'm glad to be part of this team at Hempfield going forward. Those who are in our schools and also in our surrounding communities that fall under the safety and security of everyone here. I want to say a big thank you to our teachers and staff who create a safe and welcoming environment where everyone is respected and valued daily here at Hempfield, because I think that's such an important part of safety and security. Also, a strategic update, we're up and running live across all buildings and our campuses, and it was even used for a small situation. I sometimes talk about, I threw up one time in front of a bunch of kids. I would love to be able to push a button and have some support. So things like that where kids and teachers need a little support. It's already happened here in Hempfield, and we'll continue to monitor that and get feedback from those who use it daily to move forward with it.
Great, thank you. PSBA, Erin.
Oh, sorry. Nothing to report.
Yeah, I wonder why. You've been in your chair for how long now? Standing committees, to provide reviews of the proceedings of each of the standing committee meetings. I'll start with a review of the last Buildings and Grounds meeting, which was held on November 20th. At that meeting, Mr. Bremirski provided an update presentation on the baseball and softball field projects, which we had previously approved, the first and second phases of that work. However, some stormwater management challenges have arisen with the research for the high school construct project, which have required some revisions to the baseball field plan, revising the scope of work. Currently working on getting revisions to that plan so that the revisions will still fall within the budgeted amount. And we will be seeking approval, hopefully at the December 16th Buildings and Grounds meeting. And the goal is that both fields work on those will begin in late spring, early summer, and ready for the spring 27 season. We also, Mrs. James also presented the RFP results for trash and recycling bids, which we'll be looking at later tonight. And we reviewed bids to replace a failed, oversized, large unit, water heater unit at East P Elementary with 2 smaller units, benefiting that our district plumber will now be able to service them directly, and we'll be approving that bid later tonight. And we took action on approving the proposals for the HVAC system that our speaker addressed tonight, upgrades at the LPC school to get those HVAC upgrades completed, which are much needed. I believe that's everything on Buildings and Grounds. And moving to finance, Mr. Wagner?
I'm happy to take it, but I would be happy to defer to Mr. Wohlgemuth as well, as he was the chair.
No, you can
Thank you.
take it. Thank
Very
you.
good. Well, fill in the blanks if I miss anything.
Maybe before you start, though, can I ask a quick question about the water heater replacement of the bids? Did we get more than one bid? I wasn't here for that meeting, and there's one bid listed in the agenda.
That's the accepted one.
That's the accepted
That was
one,
the
but we
accepted.
had more than one? Okay, thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, sir. Again, fill in any blanks if I happen to miss anything. It's relatively quick. We also met in a joint meeting on the 20th of November, where we received a state budget update from Mrs. Hall, which was a long time coming, let's be honest. Glad we got that, so good on that end. Also, it was brought to our attention that we'd be approving contracts this evening for including virtual author at Farmville Elementary, an addendum to athletic training services agreement through Orthopedic Associates of Lancaster, and occupational therapy supplemental services through ProCare Therapy, which we'll be voting on this evening. That is it for finance.
Mr. Wohlgemuth, it was 3. Confirmed. It's on the
Thank
Building
you.
and Grounds agenda.
Thank you. I missed that. I just want to be sure we had more than one.
I would, excuse me.
Mr. Keener?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, with reference to the state budget, Senator Malone is here, so maybe we should thank him for his part in finally getting that across the finish line.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Keener. I appreciate that. And thank you for all your work on that as well. Where are we moving to next? Education and programs. Ms. Eshelman.
That meeting was also held on November 20th. I just wanted to thank Kathy Dicely and Bill Brossman for attending and presenting the proposed name and weight changes to several of the FCS, math, and music courses at the high school. These changes are letters G, H, and I tonight under other action items for approval.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9, personnel action items. I am looking for a motion to approve personnel action items 9A, number 1 through, oh, I'm so sorry. Moving along. Policy, Personnel, and Legal Committee report, backing up to 8D. Aaron, please.
So at the November 20th meeting, which was a combined committee meeting, several policies were moved to second reading and are on the agenda tonight. All of those policies had no recommended changes, and there was not any discussion at that meeting. So we've moved them forward to tonight's agenda to be voted on.
Okay, thank you. No, good. Number 9, personnel action items. Motion to approve personnel action items number 9A, numbers 1 through 3 as presented. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Caleb. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Any discussion? All those in favor say yay. Raise your hand.
Yay.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. And now to item number 10, buildings and ground action items. A motion to approve the buildings and ground action items 10B and 10C as presented and discussed previously, the trash and recycling bid approval, and the East Petersburg Elementary School water heater quote acceptance. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Kate. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mackay. Discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. And item number 11, financial action items. As previously mentioned, we're looking for a motion to approve the following contracts as presented. The Josh Funk contract for virtual author visit, Orthopedic Associates of Lancaster addendum to the athletic training service, ProCare Therapy, occupational therapy supplemental services, and a fourth that has been added, and that was in your board notes, I believe. The description of that, Stepping Stone Group supplemental speech language services, that is needed to keep us in compliance on the services we provide for that. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
And I just want to back up and make sure I didn't mix that up. Yep, that's right. Thank you, Megan. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Any discussion?
I just want to say how amazing it will be to have an additional athletic trainer for our student athletes. As someone who was injured on our football field not too long ago, having that one-on-one time with an athletic trainer is crucial, and to have an additional one will be extremely beneficial.
Thank you. Thanks for that perspective.
I agree with Makai as the parent of a student athlete. The time that is spent with the trainer is really beneficial, and they do way more than just tape our kids up before games. So.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say yay. Raise your hand,
Yay.
please.
Yay.
Opposed? No? Okay. Motion carries 9-0. And I just want to reiterate, Carissa has asked if we raise hands and say, just for clarity, so she can be sure she's getting all of those recorded accurately. So I'm trying to get that all in there. I know I'm mixing it up some of the times, but it's a little bit of a change for all of us, but hopefully that benefits everybody moving forward. Item 12B, approval of the, actually we're moving 12B through 12J as presented. 12B is approval of the second reading of the board policies as referenced. That would be policies 825, 901, 902, and 902.1. 12C is the approval of the additional contracted transportation staff with STA, Student Transportation of America. 12D is approval to donate or dispose of the items listed. 12E, approval to appoint Kim James as a member of the Lancaster-Lebanon Joint Authority Board for a 5-year term, which for clarity is different than our board representative to the JOC. 12F is approval of the student expulsion for the rest of the 2025-26 school year. And then 12G through I are the approvals of the proposed course name or weight revision changes for family consumer science, music, and math classes. And finally, 12J is approval for the wrestling team coaches and chaperones to attend 2 overnight trips for tournaments later this month. So that's a lot. Do I have a motion to approve those items?
Motion.
Thank you, Caleb. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Any discussion on those?
Yes, question for Dr.
Thank you,
Musser
Greg.
regarding the expulsion. Obviously, without going into too much detail, what was the underlying offense here?
So it was a violation of the school board's vaping policy and was outlined in board notes.
Yep, I remember. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, any other questions or discussion points? Okay, all those in favor, raise
Yay.
your hand, say yay. Opposed? No? Okay, motion carries 9-0. And my goodness, I think we've done it. We are at the end. May I have a motion to adjourn to executive session for the discussion of for information on 4 legal matters?
So moved.
Thank you, Pat.
Second.
Thank you, Kate. Discussion? All right, meeting adjourned.